The Bermuda Triangle has always been surrounded by mystery. It was believed that it's a place of alien abductions, strange disappearances, and ghostly sightings.
Legend has it that the triangle covers the seas between Miami, the island of Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, an area of 1.5 million square miles.
Also known as the Devil's Triangle. Hurricane seeker. According to some calculations, area makes up anywhere between 500,000 and 1.5 million square miles. Mysterious stories of the Bermuda Triangle. Flight 19 in 1945 and the USS Cyclops in 1918 were missing mysteriously without any explanation. At 2:10 p.m. on December 5, 1945, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off from a naval air station in Ft. Lauderdale, Florida. Flight 19 became hopelessly disoriented. Taylor became convinced that his Avenger's compass was malfunctioning and that his planes had been flying in the wrong direction.
I don't know where we are. We must have got lost after that last turn.
Both my compasses are out and I'm trying to find Lauderdale,
Taylor said. Taylor voice sounding anxious.
I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down.
Taylor's claim didn't seem to make sense. Taylor scheduled Passover hens and chicken shuttles in the Bahamas less than an hour earlier, but he now believed his planes had somehow drifted hundreds and ended up in the Florida Keys. Some of his pilots recognized that he was making a mistake. Griped over the radio.
If we would just fly west, we would get home. We may as well just turn around and go east again.
Flight 19's radio transmissions soon became increasingly faint. Taylor was heard preparing his men for a potential crash landing in the ocean.
All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall when the first plane drops. Below 10 gallons, we all go down together.
7:30 p.m. A pair of PBM Mariner flying boats took off from an air station north of Lauderdale. One of them seemed to follow Flight 19 lead by suddenly vanishing off radar. The remains of the Mariner and its 13 crewmen were never recovered. The biggest ship in the United States Navy vanished without trace. The USS Cyclops disappeared on a voyage between the West Indies to Baltimore. In 1917, when America entered World War I, Cyclops became a key naval asset, transporting troops and coal to fuel other ships all over the world. In 1917, when America entered World War I, Cyclops became a key naval asset, transporting troops and coal to fuel other ships all over the world. March 1918, the ship left Brazil loaded up with the brittle metal, then voyaged to Barbados to resupply for the long journey home to Baltimore. But the ship never made it to Baltimore, nor did any of its 300 or so passengers and crew members. Despite an exhaustive search effort, no trace was ever found of the ship, and naval investigators never landed on a definite cause for its disappearance. December 28, 1948, a DC-3 passenger plane, considered to be one of the most reliable aircraft ever built, was flying from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Miami. The weather was good, and when the plane was 50 miles from Miami, the aircraft's pilot, Captain Robert Lindquist, contacted an air traffic control center in New Orleans to give his coordinates. This was strange. That communication was the last that anyone heard from the aircraft, which had 3 crew members and 29 passengers aboard. When the plane didn't arrive in Miami, the United States Coast Guard began a search, and was joined by the United States Navy, the Air Force, board. Investigation later found that the aircraft's batteries were not properly charged, and that it was possible that an electrical system failure rendered the aircraft's radio and automatic compass inoperative. The pilot could transmit messages but not receive them. The SS Marine Sulphur Queen was a converted T-2 tanker ship which disappeared in 1963 in the Bermuda Triangle. Heading out on February 2, it held a cargo of molten sulfur. 2 days later was the last transmission of the Queen before it went missing. The Coast Guard investigation stated that it shouldn't have even sailed and stated that due to the poor condition of the ship a fire started causing the ship to sink. A few bits of debris floated to shore but otherwise there was no trace of the ship, and because of that, conspirators believed that the Bermuda Triangle and the strange disappearances that was the cause. Airlift Wing Plane 680 and 1965, a crew from the Air Force Reserve Command's 440th Airlift Wing departed from Milwaukee to fly to Grand Turk Island in the Bahamas. Despite routine communication and no indication of trouble, the crew never reached its destination, leaving no explanation of the disappearance. On October 1, 2015, the SS El Faro and its 33-member crew were lost at sea after Hurricane Joaquin hit it. After an extensive search and rescue mission, the ship was found at the bottom of the sea in one piece, sitting upright on the ocean floor some 15,000 feet under the surface. Damaged lifeboats were found, and yet none of the crew survived. In fact, none of the bodies were recovered at all. A number of unexplained disappearances are said to have taken place in the Bermuda Triangle. There's something creepy about the reported missing aircraft and ships, many of which seem to vanish into air.